many guys are going to be able to do that in their first 2 years of class? Even that. Not many. Especially because they don't train to do that. And I'm just very lightly moving with him and offsetting him, but you have so much solid basic stuff you have to get through first just to do that, and that wasn't very advanced. And
it looks advanced.
Case in point, right? That's what it looks like to most people. Like, you're not going to be able to do that. Do we agree?
Yep.
Because we know why, again. How do we know it? What have we done?
Pressure.
Yeah. What we're talking about pressure test, Joe, is stuff like, anybody got a training knife?
Yeah.
In my bag. Grab one real quick, will you?
Want
Grab
rubber
one
or
real
you
quick.
want metal?
This'll make the point, so to speak. Knife, point, pointed knife. All right, thank you. Just blasting me. We do stuff like this all the time, right? That's cool. That's pretty neat, right? Go ahead, keep going. Ooh, that's great. And just keep moving around and doing stuff. Yeah, great. But you see how he's attacking.
Mm-hmm.
That's training attacks to develop, right? Here's a real attack. The last 8 years, right down the toilet, right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's pressure testing. Now, when we really pressure test, how do we normally do it with this nasty little bastard? We stick him in the corner in the basement. And the guy being attacked still has an advantage. Why? He knows what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, remember this. This is crucial. I try to say this whenever I can on YouTube. People say street fights. A street fight, I said this earlier today, one way or another you're agreeing to pound on each other and whatever, because if you're not trying to escape or to hit them enough to escape, if you decide like, hey asshole, you're the guy that broke my such and such, well yeah, what are you going to do about it? Now that's an agreement to fight. Otherwise, if you had any sense, self-defense thinking, self-protection thinking, I'm going to delineate. I do this in talks all the time. Self-protection is being really smart, intuitive, and strategic in what you say and what you do to try to completely stop phase 2 from happening. Phase 2 is physical self-defense. That's really your job. Whether it, like I said earlier, whether it looks bad to your wife or girlfriend or whatever, because anything can happen. You think you're going to have a pushing match and then all of a sudden this thing comes out and he cuts you. You don't know. Or the guy over there watching is his buddy, you know, all that, right? So that changes everything. So normally what we're talking about is an attack. There's no agreement, right? You're doing whatever you're doing and minding your own business, and out of nowhere somebody's fighting you, which means they're attacking you. There's no agreement to throw blows back and forth, see? Mm-hmm. That all right there takes it completely out of the realm of sport and turns it's like my favorite little show on Netflix, Kim's Convenience, the Korean family that owns a convenience store, and the mom and dad always say to go, no, you sneak attack, you sneak attack. It's like they're always doing something. It's like a sneak attack, you know. Well, that's a sneak attack, right? You're walking down the street bebopping, and there's two guys. One guy's standing over here watching you as you come to the corner, but his buddy's around the corner. And this is common. I know a male nurse that got nearly killed a year or two ago from this very scenario. The guy over there sends a signal to his buddy around the corner. The guy's about to enter the corner. As soon as he does, boom, this guy's on him and grabs him, and then this guy runs up and just starts pounding him in the face, kneeing him in the rocks, or stabbing him with a knife, and the guy's on the ground. Coordinated sneak attack, see? Big difference, right? Big difference, because there's no time, there's no preparation. This is why true self-defense training means learning how to flow and be intuitive and spontaneous in your movement, because Gary said it perfectly. He's getting there with something special that he said today. I'm not really thinking about it anymore. Good, because in this time, how much time you got to think about anything? So you better be training your reflexes and your perception, right? And then checking yourself every once in a while by doing this one basic thing. And that is the guy coming hard and fast with this thing. We'll be doing some of this tomorrow because it's part of the self-defense focus that we have right now. So all this stuff is really cool. He comes in, he blasts in, I'm like, oh, I just get out of the way, but I caught it. But the emotional intensity of that strike and the mere fact that I know it's a drill makes it way easier for me to just pull off what I just did. See? Now, without even really stabbing you, watch it here. Well, here, no. I want you to just do what I just did. Just move with it and deflect and like you normally would in drills. Okay? Good. All right, great. And we're developing movement, right? We're developing distancing, range finding, timing. Well, this looks pretty good, right? That's all great. Now, let's just do the same thing, but a little faster. Still doing pretty good, right? Now, we'll do the same thing again. He's dead. What was it? You okay?
Yeah.
You all right?
Yes.
What was the difference? What was the difference? What did I do different?
Speed and intensity.
I decided, I'm killing this fucker right here, right now. I'm gonna fucking kill him. As soon as I put that in my head, it's like you're a demon. You swell with energy, and I go, I'm gonna grab that frickin' beard. You have to make yourself mean. This is what Bruce Lee always called emotional content. It's not anger. Do I look angry? But I can bring it up if I have to, right? That's why he couldn't stop. He could do some fairly advanced looking turning, moving, and deflecting, but as soon as I decide I'm gonna fucking kill him, that failed. Does that make that other training that we did first useless? Be honest, does it?
I don't think so.
Okay, why don't you think so?
It's giving you attributes that you need, and then you can add the intensity little by little.
It's moving you to a higher level.
Building
Yeah.
block.
I'm sorry?
Building blocks.
Okay,
Just
Gary?
incomplete.
Yeah.
It's incomplete.
Why?
I think it's just incomplete.
Okay, okay.
I guess even in the intense attack, you know, when you have to do something a little more basic, some of those attributes you still might be able to sneak them in there to move off like here, but you're not going to be doing this.
Yeah. So this is why we're doing this too, for you guys who've been at this longer now. I don't want you to sit there and go, oh God, we've been wasting time on all this other stuff. No. But what we call this is reality check. See? Because if you always do just go ahead and move, it'll be very light. If you always do this kind of training all the time, it'll give you a false sense of what? Yeah, and confidence. It'll give you a false sense of confidence because it's easier to succeed. But he's learning how to move. He's learning how to move at angles and parallel to the blade. He's developing footwork and good posture and all that good stuff. But that doesn't cover the emotional intensity and the body's fear response in a real attack.
But could it just be enough though to help you get away from the attack? So that building block, just even if you have a
Yeah, potentially. But you tell me. All this work we've been doing on my self-defense approach, with the coming in hard and fast, with the elbow A-frame cover, think that might be a little more realistically effective for guys that haven't been training for 40 years? Try it. You do it. Do what we just been doing with the elbow work. You're just going to do it against a knife now. And I'm not coming real fast yet. Just do it. Just do it. Okay. Let's do it again. What's the fundamental gigantic difference?
in the distance.
He's not staying out here, letting me control the distance and time. He's cutting that shit off right now. Just like the comment, was it you that said, when you train against Tony because he does MMA and BJJ, he's used to the same kind of aggressive coming in, right? And it changed. Was it just you that said that to me, or was that Tom? One of you guys just said it to me.
Tuesday, I mentioned. We were talking about it.
Was it you that said that today? Yeah, when Tony comes in. Right, see, because Tony's training more like this. Because he's in a combative sport and they attack like that. So, and that's very good because that's one of the parts of how he trains for that sport stuff that has complete validity, because we know what happens. It's real simple. We'll simulate this, but if I'm coming in and he's backing off,
Yeah.
he's going straight back, right? Ah, good, and he falls into a tree or he trips over something. And I saw that, so I was pushing him that direction, right? So, there's a problem. Now get out here where you have room. Same thing. If he's backing off, all of a sudden I'm gaining distance. It's the reaction time gap, right? Now, remember that little warm-up drill we did? If you just add that part in, now that gets into kind of what you were talking about, see? Sure, but what's still a problem?
You're there,
Starts over
the knife.
again.
Now, if he did that though, because we're in a tiny room, and there's a door,
Yeah, you could run and get away.
get through the door, slam the door. This is the kind of stuff we do in the self-defense scenario training, which we will do some of that tomorrow, a little bit tomorrow. It's learning a methodology of intuitive, instinctive, tactical thinking is how I like to explain it when I do the self-protection talks. Dan came with me. We had Midwest Litigation, which is the continuing ed branch for court videographers, and a lot of them get attacked at courthouses, municipal ones at night, because they got all this gear and they're vulnerable and they wanted to talk on this. But this is the kind of stuff that we're talking about here, see? So you got to keep it real to understand, you know, there's developing the attribute training and all that work, which still enhances the most basic stuff you do. But if you think that if you can just rely on that, I think we've stated a pretty strong case for no, you can't. Not yet. Nobody's Wheeler or Vlad yet. I'm closer than anybody else in this group, and I still know what my tendencies are. If some fucking guy pulls a knife on me, I'm not going to do a passive dance. I've been doing this for almost 51 years now, but I haven't been doing it all day, every day, and I wasn't in the military doing it against real guys trying to kill me. Big difference. Big difference, right? So I know what my tendencies are when the shit hits the fan, and that's why my self-defense core training is what we've started doing last week, because I know what tendencies are, and I know if I bring out those natural tendencies, which are to cut this thing off as fast as you frickin' can and get it over with, especially with this in the mix, the more you play around, the more time gaps you leave, you're asking to get it, right? So that seemed pretty clear and kind of defined things a little better. Gary, you almost look like you're like, should we have just been only training this all the way? I mean, there's something cooking in your noggin. I can see it. What is it?
I mean, no, I agree with, everything, of course, what you're saying. With me, kind of like what the conversation we had earlier, a lot of it comes down to controlling that tension. You know, as we move up in these different levels of stress testing or, you know, going through a basic drill, that's when, for me, one of the big factors is just controlling that tension.
That's true. However, since you're not there yet, what should you be doing in the meantime? Should you be packing your 9 or your 45 all the time? Or, I mean, what should be the answer? I'm trying to give you the answer with this kind of training, right? You see my point?
Yeah, I mean, kind of, you know, going through those basic drills, kind of burning in that muscle memory, and then building upon that, to me, is the root. But to me, it's another subject. You know, should you carry a weapon or not? You know, I mean, even Vlad and Kyle talk about that. I mean, you know, they got comment their own thoughts on that. You know, with terrorism and whatever else.
Sure. Plus, look at their background.
Yeah, the military guys.
Those guys, if they're talking honest on the side, you know they're going to tell you you're a damn fool if you're not training with the weapon and carrying it on the side. You know?
Vlad just did a couple sessions on handgun.
Right.
And one of the things I liked about it is he did push-ups with a handgun in your hand to build
Yeah.
muscle strength.
See, this is what I was just saying earlier today. I said, you know, the little video clip that Bob sent me, that French Sistema guy, I kind of forgot about it. I put it up a couple years ago, but it's kind of a quick, nice thing of reminding, like, look, full spectrum Sistema, man. There's combat handgun work. There's a lot of much more aggressive type of work in there. It has to be, right? But the average Joe on the street, no pun intended, is not training for that. And I think what they've done is just kind of adapted to building people up, and then as they get more serious and moving toward that instructor level, there's more intensity and those things come back in. But I assume that's how they're thinking, because I've noticed dramatic differences just in the old videos put out to now. You know, fighting with freaking entrenching tools and tables and baseball hats, and you know, So the real stuff is in that art, and that's what I wanted to make a point and remind some people when you resent me that clip the other day. It's there. You're just not seeing it in the most common little, more slightly recreational clips that you see on YouTube, because that's kind of pretty intense for a lot of people. But it's there. In fact, I've been writing a YouTube talk that I'm going to do, and I've told you guys this before. And my thing on this is this. It's good to get this information again or for the first time. If you're doing self-defense training in the modern world, go way back. What was probably the first types of weapons? Some kind of blunt-edged, picking up a tree limb or a rock, if we go far enough back, right? Well, then metal came around, then people started making swords and daggers and stuff, right? That kind of held the ground for a long time, right? Then we get into the more modern world, and after a while people aren't carrying swords anymore, but they're still carrying knives. And they'll still pick up a tire iron, or they'll keep a baseball bat in their car, right? That's still, if you look at the FBI site, you'll still see there's a lot of blunt weapon attack. A lot of that's attacks of passion. There's also ones where a lot of people still keep a Louisville Slugger on the back seat of the car, or a tire iron handy. Blunt weapons, right? Edged weapons, still plenty. There's still way more knife attacks than there are gun attacks the last time I looked. Okay? But the modern version of carrying the sword is, especially a handgun. So if you want realistic self-defense training, even if you don't want to carry weapons, that's your decision. But I say you're a fool if at some point you don't go out and first learn firearm safety, get on a range and learn how to at least fire the weapon at a stationary target. We're still not into the self-defense part yet. That's just learning how to handle the gun. Then self-defense training is combat shooting. And at least do enough of that, then you understand a whole different level of things, right, Bob?
Yeah.
How it is when you're shaky and you're on the move, and Gary, you know, because you shoot. What happens if you do this a little bit, you know? From here to here, I can easily miss him because I do this. Here's the barrel. See where the round just went? They show it all the time in videos. These guys will unload on each other. You've seen those videos and completely miss each other at really close quarters. Why? They're scared and they're shaking, their hands
Slamming the trigger back.
You're slamming, yeah, and the bullets going everywhere. So you got to learn, it's back to what we just said, you got to learn how to breathe and be able to relax under pressure, right? And know how to really stabilize that weapon to compensate for that with counter pressures and to be able to hold that thing and move and shoot. If you're serious about self-defense, I would at least get that far. That's as far as I've gone. One basic one-on-one session in good combat shooting to understand distance, relationships, what happens to your body under stress, you know, because even if you're not going to carry, what's this going to do for you, self-defense wise? Yeah, it'll make you have better understandings of, from your own experience, right, that, oh man, if I'm a little tense and shaky, I can't hit shit from 6 feet away. That's handy information to know. If a guy in the street, some nervous kid, pulls a gun on you, chances are if you just know to start moving around, he's going to keep shooting where you were and miss where you are. You see that too in videos of real shots because the guy's not trained. So you wouldn't know that though if you never took some basic gun training. Wouldn't you agree, Bob, with your background?
Yeah.
You wouldn't know.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So even if you're not going to carry, but you want to really be solid in your self-protection, self-defense, does it make sense to, I know Gary has, at least, I don't know if you did a combat class ever yet.
Not combat class,
but still, at least you've gone as far as you have, and that's still pretty good.
Yeah.
But you guys should consider, here again, if you're really concerned about self-protection and self-defense, at least go as far as I did. That gave me enough to at least be able to talk with some understanding about it, even though it's not my main focus. And then, you know, I'll talk about in that same talk, I'll show my new Smith & Wesson 9, and I'll talk about certain features it has and what it's made for and how you have to kind of go out and decide on why you need one and if you're going to own it and you're just going to train with it, or you're going to sometimes take it places like where a couple years ago I was more in harm's way with some really horrible properties that we managed in North City that were extremely dangerous places to be. And especially in sheriff's evictions, putting people out, I had mine. You know, so it just depends on your life situation. But here again, it's good stuff to have. Okay, that's good on that.
One comment on that, going to
Oh,
the
wait.
different ranges.
Go ahead, keep going.
You know, with the social unrest, and you know, one of the ranges my son trap shoots at, it's in like north of St. Charles. But anyway, not being racist, but there's a fair number of black people that go there and shoot.
Uh-huh.
And man, they got ARs. They're decked out with the pistol grips and high, you know, high capacity magazines, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I always just kind of wonder if this racial, all this stuff that's going on now, you know, there's that potential that could escalate. You could see, you know, there's just potential for a lot more violence. I think there are a lot of guns out there. You know, everybody's got them. So
Yeah, this is and that brings me back to, that's kind of a whole separate issue unto itself, and I understand that's making a lot of people racially paranoid on no matter what their race is. I get all that, but yeah, and that's a valid thing to think about. You kind of have to. But even on just a basic everyday level, without all that going on in the world right now, there's still that threat there. There's still a lot of bad guys out there, and a lot of younger kids who are trying to show their badge of courage and get in gangs by popping, you know. So at the very least, enough understanding to even develop strategy and tactics on where are you going to be going and when are you going there, and is this a high crime area that has high stats for a lot of hold-ups and carjackings on the street with armed people. It's just kind of good to know. Like, what if you just took a new job somewhere in a really nice new modern building, but it's in a rough neighborhood? These are things to think about. Develop tactics and strategies to try to protect yourself so that you don't have to defend yourself, and do everything you can to tactically, strategically avoid putting yourself where you're vulnerable to that type of thing. See, and that's more where I'm coming from. Being prepared that way. And then it's up to you if you think you need to carry or not. But at least if you have a much higher level of understanding and awareness of this, you have a better chance, you know, you'll have a better ability to avoid. Okay? All right, that's good.